Well, hello again and welcome to Spurgos Thought for Your Week. I'm Pastor John from Sun City Church. Thank you for joining us. And we continue today with our series on the book of Psalms, Psalms chapter 18. And my thought for your week is simply this, that God is my place of safety. In this psalm, David reflects on his journey becoming king. And he reflects on the persecution of Saul and all the many battles and conflicts that the Lord had brought him through. And now he's at a place of relative prosperity and peace. He is the king and he is thankful to God for all that the Lord has done. You can divide this psalm into really four sections. Verse 1 to verse 3, David speaks about how he's decided to bless God and declares how God has helped him and is the strength of his life. Then from verse 4 to verse 19, he begins to poetically extol God's mercy and how God has delivered him through so many things. From verse 20 to verse 28, he begins to state how God has acted righteously on his behalf and towards him and favoured his life. And then finally, in verse 29 to verse 45, David gratefully describes his deliverance and looks forward to future victories with the Lord. Well, I want to focus on the first part. That's verse 1 to verse 3, and in particular verse 2. So let's read it together. I love you, Lord. You are my strength. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my saviour. My God is my rock in whom I find protection. He is my shield, the power that saves me and the place, or my place, of safety. I called on the Lord who is worthy of praise, and he saved me from my enemies. And I want to focus particularly on that phrase. He is my shield, the power that saves me, and my place of safety. People who've gone through a bad experience or are going through a time of adversity in their lives often wonder, who can they trust? Is there a safe place that they can go to? Is there a safe person that they can share their troubles with? Someone who will listen to them without judgment, a place where they are finally safe from their abusers. Well, we all need someone that we can go to in our lives. We all need that place that we could call home, or that place we feel safe and is a sanctuary. In this psalm, David colourfully describes his many enemies and the amazing journey that the Lord has brought him through in becoming the King of Israel. But he begins all of that by describing what has framed the success, what has been the foundation for his victory. And we find that in verse 1 to 3. Let's remind ourselves again. He says, first off, I love you, Lord. You are my strength. So right at the beginning, he's putting it into the context of relationship. And he expresses how much he loves the Lord. There's that intimacy again from David. Verse 2, the Lord is my rock, my fortress, my saviour. My God is my rock in whom I find protection. And we think about all these terms that David uses to describe God. God is that immovable rock, that mighty fortress. He's my shield, the power that saves me, and my place of safety. And I called on the Lord who is worthy of praise, and he saved me from my enemies. So what a wonderful acknowledgement and a message of hope that David brings to us today. We could ask ourselves, what is troubling me today? What is troubling your life? What plans are you preparing for tomorrow? Because no matter what season in life you are experiencing, whether it's the spring, the summer, the autumn, or the winter of life, the Lord is to be a constant place for you where you can feel safe and where you can experience his strength and protection. He is your shield. He is the immovable rock. He is the strong fortress in which we can shelter. He is the power that delivers and saves. So to summarize what David is saying in these first three verses is that the Lord is your place of safety. When you have no answers, when no words remain on your lips, when understanding is at a loss, when you are feeling completely overwhelmed by your circumstances, when hurt is painfully sharp, when discouragement is gnawing away at your soul, when blessings are flowing and overflowing and threatening to sweep us away with their blessings, the Lord is that place of safety, that refuge that we can go to. We need say nothing, but simply know that we are loved and be loved. Psalms 46 verse 10, that famous phrase, "Be still and know that I am God." When Peter denied the Lord and wept bitter tears, be still and know that I am God. When Mary was panicked as she went to the tomb and found it was empty and thought that they had stolen away her Lord's body, and Jesus appeared to her and said, "Mary," and no one else spoke to her that way, be still and know, Mary, that he is God. When Elijah asked the Lord to take his life and hid himself away in the wilderness, and then the earthquake came and the fire and the mighty wind, and then the still small voice as Elijah hid in that cave, be still and know that I am God. And when Moses, for 40 years hiding in the desert, feeling like a failure, until one day his eyes see the burning bush and the voice of the Lord, and the calling of the Lord comes to him once more, and be still and know that I am God. When Hannah was crying in the temple and could not put words to the anguish of her heart to have a child, and she just mouthed those words, yet the Lord understood, be still and know that I am God. And when Lazarus died and the crowds were there and Mary and Martha were weeping, and that Jesus looked at the crowds, looked at their hurt and had compassion on them, and he wept. Be still and know that I am God. God is every believer's safe person and safe place to go to. In Revelations chapter 21 and verse 3 to 5, when John has that revelation of the end times and he sees all of us there, and he sees all the hosts of heaven in the presence of the Lord, and God himself is walking amongst his people. And he describes it in verse 3 of Revelations 21. I heard a loud shout from the throne saying, "Look, God's home is now among his people. He will live with them and they will be his people. And God himself will be with them. And he will wipe away every tear from their eyes. And there will be no more death or sorrow or crying or pain. For all these things are gone forever." Let me encourage you this morning that whatever season in life you find yourself, whether you're in the springtime, when things are just blooming and coming back to life and it's exciting and there's the promise of new things ahead, whether it's summer for you right now where you're enjoying the fruits of everything and just it's that time when the sun is on your face, you feel the blessing of the Lord. Or maybe you're going into winter. There's been some harvest, there's been some hard work, but there's been the fruit of your labours. Or perhaps there's the onset of winter in your life and you feel the biting cold of the wind and the uncertainty of what the dark nights of winter will bring. Well, be still and know that he is God. That the Lord is that place of safety. That Lord is that place of refuge through all the seasons of life. And one day we shall see him face to face, and he'll wipe away every tear from their eyes, and there'll be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying or pain. But in the meantime, he is that place that we can go to in the secret place. The Lord is always with us. It was the secret to David's success. And for you and I, make it the undergirding, the strength for our lives through whatever season we find ourselves. That you love the Lord and know that He loves you, and that we have that place of safety that we can always go to. Thank you for listening. May the Lord bless you. Have a great week. Until next time.